Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Buenas Noticias in Easy English, the only YouTube channel dedicated to good news stories from around the world for Spanish speakers who are learning English. So please tell your friends, like, comment, and subscribe so I stay motivated to keep the channel going. Gracias. Also, remember to check out the flashcards to practice your vocabulary. The link is in the description. Today's happy news story comes from a small country in the Middle East, Israel. Most of you who are watching this video are from Latin America, so you know the different sizes of the countries in the area and how, for example, Panama is very small compared to Brazil or Argentina. Well, imagine this. Israel is even smaller than Panama. In fact, it's half the square mileage of Panama. So today, we're going to be celebrating this small country's independence. Israel's independence, not Panama's. Panama's is in November. We'll do that in another video. Anyway, let's get started. This year, 2026, Israel is celebrating its 78th Independence Day, also known as Yom HaAtzmaut. This special day comes right after Yom HaZikaron, Israel's day to remember soldiers, soldados, who were killed in wars, and also victims who were killed in terrorist attacks. This is very important, the order of these days. First, there's a day of sadness, tristeza, sadness, and remembrance. Then the next day, there's celebration. The combination of sentiments, sentimientos, sentiments, is very special and unique in Israel. To understand this day, let's go back to May 14th, 1948, 1948, the day that David Ben-Gurion, the main founding leader and Israel's first prime minister, announced the establishment of the State of Israel. Before that day, Britain was gobernando the land. In 1947, the United Nations, Naciones Unidas, they voted for a plan to divide the land into two states, one Jewish state and one Arab state. The idea was not to give all the land to one side, but to create a homeland for both peoples. I want to take a moment here to explain to you, this is the only situation where we pluralize the word people. People normally is the plural, people like you and me. But when we say peoples and we pluralize it by putting an S at the end, that's talking about nations of people, groups of people. In this case, the example was a Jewish nation, an Arab nation. These are two peoples. That's when you can pluralize the word people. If you have any questions about that, ask me in the comments. This plan was one of the most important and the first steps towards Israel's independence because it gave international support to the reestablishamiento of a Jewish state. And for the Jewish people, this was not random, arbitrario, random, or cualquiera, random claim to land. Israel's Declaration of Independence was based on the fact that the land of Israel was the ancient birthplace, tierra natal, of the Jewish people, and the place where Jewish spiritual, religious, and political identity had deep and provable roots, raíces, roots. The Jewish leadership accepted the United Nations plan, even though, aunque, it did not give them everything they wanted. But Arab leaders rechazaron, rejected the plan. And as soon as Israel declared independence, armies from 5 Arab countries invaded Israel. So the new state did not begin in peace. It began in war. Israel's Declaration of Independence was also about freedom, libertad, freedom, justice, justicia, justice, peace, paz, and equal rights. From the beginning, Israel decided to not just be a Jewish state, but also be a state that would protect the rights of all its law-abiding inhabitants. Law-abiding, respetuoso de la ley. Law-abiding. Independence Day in Israel celebrates the return of Jewish self-rule in its own land. Now, watch these next few sentences, how many times I'm going to use the word many. For many centuries, Jews lived in many different countries because they did not have a state of their own. Many people do not fully understand that Jews didn't simply leave the land of Israel years ago because they wanted to. No, it was over time that many were forced out. They were driven out of their land and scattered, dispersados, scattered all over the world. Exile, exilio, was not a free or a happy choice. It happened because Jews were conquered, conquistado, removed, and pushed out. In some places, Jewish communities thrived, prosperó, thrived. But again and again, Jews also faced hatred, odio, hatred, unfair treatment, injusticia, unfair treatment, violence, and expulsion, expulsión. After 6 million Jews were killed, asesinado in the Holocaust, holocausto in Europe, Holocaust, holocausto, Israel's independence became a major turning point, punto decisivo, in history. On Independence Day these days, cities hold public events, families gather outside with friends and relatives, and there are flags, and there's music, and there's parties, and there's usually fireworks. But these days they won't have fireworks. Why? Because these days Israel is in the midst of other wars, and people are traumatized by the sounds of bombs and explosions going off. So to not trigger the fear, they've decided not to have any fireworks. Fireworks, fuegos artificiales, fireworks. Anyway, this day is about much more than celebration. Once Israel was established, Jews from all over the world started to come back to build new lives there. So now Israel is not just an idea or a symbol of hope. It's a country. It's a home, and it's a place of safety for Jews. Hebrew has come back as a daily spoken language. For many years it wasn't spoken. Now there are new towns, there's schools, there's hospital, farms, university, businesses, public institutions. And Israel has made many innovations that have improved the quality of life, calidad de vida, quality of life, for people all over the globe. So, Israel Independence Day 2026 is much more than a national birthday. In a time where Jew hatred, antisemitismo, is rising again around the world, Yom HaAtzmaut carries a clear message. The Jewish people are still here, they're still building, and they're still living as a free people in their ancestral homeland. And that's very good news from around the world. I look forward to seeing you again in the next episode of Buenas Noticias in Easy English. Thanks for tuning in this time. Bye!